Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Greyhammer. Today, we're going to be doing a care guide for the eastern fence lizard, as you've probably figured out from my thumbnail. But first, we're going to go into Wikipedia because, again, there's not much on this topic. I was surprised that there was as much as there is with reptile systems. But eastern fence lizard, pretty small. Note, they're found along forest edges, rock piles, rotting logs, and stumps. So they are a border species where they live on the border between like plains and forest. So unlike a lot of other native species to Alabama where I live, they are a big sun lover. I mean, most turtles are, but this is most definitely one of the more sun-loving reptiles that needs a lot of sun. They can grow up to 8 inches, basically. They're super fast. The males, they love pine barrens with sandy or loose soil. They can be found basking on top of natural and artificial structures, such as coarse woody debris. So it looks like log debris, tree stumps, rock piles, sandy hills, dead logs, and fence posts. Hence the name fence lizard. They seek refuge under structures when it gets too hot and at night. The males have blue on their underbelly. You can see that they go pretty widely ranged. They persist in the oak barrens, pine barrens. They're very fast. Males are territorial, so don't keep more than one male. Keep a male and a female. They're ambush predators, typically eating ants and grasshoppers, but apparently they mostly eat ants is their main diet. They will, however, eat crickets and things in captivity. Reproduction, clutch of 3 to 16 eggs, though larger females may produce more than one clutches. But let's get into this. I would just like to say, if you can get a care guide from Reptile Systems on your lizard, I highly recommend it. There's not that many out there, but it has been so nice to see a care guide that does this level of actually caring about the animal. Instead of where like a lot of places have pet care guides that are like, this is what you can do to keep this reptile bare minimum. This is exactly like, you could definitely keep this in a super small enclosure. This is like, no, you need to have this much space. So going into that. So there is zone 3 in the Ferguson zone. We might talk about that a little bit later in this episode. Basically, most reptiles in the southeast are zone 2, except for turtles and the fence lizard. They like a little bit more shade. Zone 3 is more likes to soak in a whole lot of sun. Again, this is giving us some can be handled. We'll have stuff to say about that later. This is just cut and paste from the Wikipedia page, but housing. Eastern fence lizards do best within a wooden vivarium because wood is an excellent insulator of heat, making it easier to control the crucial temperatures. Correct on that front. The minimum enclosure size would be that in centimeters, but it's a 4 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot. Allows sufficient length to allow the creation of a temperature gradient. This is great. I was so worried that I wasn't going to be able to find a care guide that didn't say, keep it in a 20-gallon terrarium. This is great because, and then it's like, if you can provide larger enclosure, this will benefit your animal. So yeah, if you can get bigger than that, great. This is a very active, fast lizard, and it needs those temperature gradients to regulate its body temperature. So this is great. We'll look at some enclosures. Then heating. They need a temperature range of 70 to 95 degrees. Basking spot, max 95 degrees. Ambient during the day is 80 to 85, and then ambient during the night is around 70. It tells you different lighting systems you can do. The one negative is they do say use a ceramic heat emitter. I would say don't do that. I know that this species loves heat, and they can burn themselves on the ceramic heat emitters pretty easily. Lighting. There's zone 3 in the Ferguson, require UVI, and then ranging down to 0 in the cooler shaded areas. The ideal photo period would be 12 hours on, 12 hours off. You can use the T5 light when you're using a reflector. They have one for the zone. If you're providing taller enclosure, we recommend a mercury vapor lamp in combination so that you can get a really hot, like really focused UV region. So what I'll probably be doing is I'll be having the T5 um, on the hillside of the terrarium, and that will provide an area where there will be zone 3 sections, because we'll look at this later. Just this will be a little bit more in-depth care guide because this company is giving us a lot more, so I want to kind of give them a little bit of credit. Substrate, um, they say use compacted sand and soil. I would even say, as someone who lives in Alabama, where they are from, this is obviously coming from a British or French, I'm not sure which company. Um, I would say add some clay in there. I don't think that these lizards burrow, but it would be nice. Should be provided fresh water daily. Give them a bowl that is heavy enough that your pet can't tip. I would suggest giving them a pet that they could a bowl that is big enough that they can soak in, and then 85% humidity. So you are going to need to mist or fog during night to get you to that 85% humidity as needed. Insectivores offer a wide variety of insects, can include crickets, cockroaches, locusts, silkworms, calcer worms. That's just super worms, I believe. Um, Variety of other life foods that are commercially available. It's important to remember to gut load. We'll be doing an episode. I've got an order in from Dubia Roaches. I'll kind of give you a bit of gut loading information. I would suggest Reptiliatus has a great video on gut loading. I was not gut loading before, and I am now. And you can see the difference in the feeders as they swell up. So, and then calcium dusting. I'm getting better at that as well. We'll be doing a whole feeding video. I'll be recording it Friday, so it will be coming out next Wednesday. Handling, they can be handling, but they are not that they can be skittish. They are skittish. I would suggest not handling personally. They say at least wait 2 weeks after you get it, and then 20 to 30 minutes at a time. I would say less than that, but that's just me. I don't think that most reptiles should be handled. Let's look at 4 enclosures that I've looked at. So this is kind of your high end. You got your Toad Ranch, $540. And actually, so here's the fun thing: is most of these enclosures are going to be around in this range. There's one that stands out, and it's the Dubia enclosure. This 4x2x2. First of all, it looks good to me. So, but it's $269. That's so like I'm not dissing this one. This looks really good, and you can get it in all these different colors. So the customizability of that is great. But ooh, I like that even better, I think. Okay, well, um, this terrarium is super affordable. It's coming soon. Um, yeah, just highly recommend this. Um, this is your glass terrarium with Reptizoo. You're going to be spending $500, still less than the toads. Um, and this is going to come up with so they made it so that more UVB would get in. You've got all these things to let wiring through. They'll give you a video. So that's really nice. All these locks for if you're keeping snakes, but this is fence lizards. Um, so this is great. Then you've got your cages, which is again on the higher end, and you can customize it and make it more expensive, which is kind of wild. Yeah, you could really get it to. But let's just face it, go with Dubia. That's my recommendation. I've not had any of these, of course, but these are almost the same enclosure. I would argue even that I prefer the look of this one, and this is significantly cheaper. But let's go to Reptile Systems and look at some of their UV things that you could use. So for this, it's suggested you use this light here, the T5 Zone 3, 12% UVI. So you could use that for, you could use the Arcadian lights as well to get that Zone 3. And they're going to give you this breakdown. And here you go. You get it in centimeters. But if we're just going to go centimeter to inch, so they say you want it 12 inches, or actually a little bit, you want it 40 centimeters, which I believe is going to be like 15, yeah. So you want the light 15 inches away from the basking zone. So the reason I was saying I'm going to go with the zone 2, because if you look at this, to here, for one, 6.6, I believe, is exactly what about what they need. So lighting, yeah. So, and that's 12 inches away, and the hill is supposed to be 12 inches tall, which will mean it's 12 inches away. Will not be on top of mesh, so will not be reducing the UVI. So I'll be using the high output. But the great thing about these is that you've got the values broken down with the reflector, UVI, or without the reflector, with the low output, and then with the high output. So this is kind of very useful. They also have, you can go and look at their mercury vapor bulbs for the spotlight effect. So this is saying, I don't know what it's saying, but I think 80 is, so you want to put it straight to the bottom, about 12 inches away. And here, this is great. So this tells you your zone 3 creatures could be 12 inches away, 8 to 12 inches away from, so this would tell you exactly what you need. So like for me, zone 3 would need to be, this would be great for zone 3 at my terrarium, where it will be. And then the next will be zone 2, and then the bottom of the terrarium is here, and so creatures could get into the zone 1, where the UVI is almost indistinguishable, and with leaf litter that they could hide under, they could get away from the UVI. But this tells you just where, and again, 40 inches, that's kind of crazy. So that gives you a good bit of, and then this tells you kind of, so like green anoles. But this video is going a little long, so I think this is going to be it for the Eastern Fence Lizard. Again, I'm very happy about these reptile system care guides, just because of the enclosure size. That's something that gets neglected a lot. But anyways, please like, subscribe, comment if you have any Eastern fence lizards or other fence lizard species. Tell me if I got anything wrong. I've not kept this species. I had a friend who did, but that was a long time ago. So just let me know. Please comment below. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.